I'm all in on JJ McCarthy, and I think that he's going to prove everyone wrong with the Minnesota Vikings for this upcoming year. I cannot wait to see what he can do for this team. There's been so much said about JJ McCarthy. First of all, the Vikings took him in the first round last year. He looks great in the preseason, but he goes down with that knee injury. We don't see him at all last year, and it was a situation where Sam Darnold was brought in to be a bridge quarterback, maybe play the first few weeks or so until JJ McCarthy's ready to go, but McCarthy misses all of the season, and this kind of gives Sam Darnold almost the peace of mind that it's going to be my team all season long, and that's exactly what happened. He went out there, won 14 ball games for the Minnesota Vikings, and had a tremendous season. He threw for 4,300 passing yards, had 35 touchdowns, 12 picks, 66% completion percentage. Sam Darnold was money for the Minnesota Vikings, but I think this also shows how great Kevin O'Connell truly is with quarterbacks that he's had in his system. It started with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, you could say, is the most talented quarterback that he's had so far. He had a lot of success with Kirk early on when he first became a head coach of the Vikings. Then it was a transition period where Kirk went down for this season. You had some guys that were kind of coming in, filling in. And I remember a certain point where Kevin O'Connell had Nick Mullins throwing for 400 yards. Then it was this other transition period where you have Sam Darnold, who's this bridge quarterback, JJ McCarthy, who's this rookie first round pick. He goes down for the season. It's Sammy Darnold's team. That's what we saw. Sam Darnold leaves in free agency this offseason. Now it is solely JJ McCarthy's team, and I am very excited about this opportunity for JJ. I've been very complimentary about him coming into this year. I think it starts with Kevin O'Connell, though. He's been so brilliant with other quarterbacks in his system that it has to make you think, why can't JJ McCarthy be the next guy up? Why can't Kevin O'Connell help JJ McCarthy slowly improve? This was a guy that Kevin O'Connell handpicked in the draft 2 seasons ago. Kevin O'Connell had a major say in drafting JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy has a big arm. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, he handed the ball off so much at Michigan. He did, and that was really Michigan's identity. They had 2 of the best backs in the country. JJ McCarthy was also tremendous in the play action game, super accurate. He has a wildly talented arm. That's everything you're getting in Minnesota, and almost like it wasn't used to its full potential in Michigan. Now it's going to have that opportunity to be a gunslinger at the next level, and I think Kevin O'Connell can unlock that for JJ McCarthy. I also think it really helps when you have one of the best receiving cores in all of football. We all know how great Justin Jefferson is, arguably the best receiver in football. You could put him or Jamar Chase in that 1A, 2B spot. Then you have a guy in Jordan Addison who really came onto the scene strong last year as that number 2 receiver. I think, in my opinion, he's emerged as a top 5 number 2 receiver in the NFL. He's really emerged into a tremendous player. Former first-round pick out of USC from the year before, JJ McCarthy. That's another great weapon on the outside. TJ Hawkinson missed some of last year recovering from that injury that he had, but he played the rest of the games. He's now back healthy, ready to go for this year. One of the best tight ends in the NFL, top 5 tight end easily. That's another great weapon for JJ McCarthy. And then, of course, you have Aaron Jones, a great back that can really do it all. Great receiving threat, great running threat. This is a Vikings offense now that has the weapons on the outside for JJ McCarthy. Not only that, they have Christian Darrisaw coming back. This offensive line really struggled in the playoffs last year. I think everybody kind of had a sour taste in their mouth with this Vikings team when they were 14-2, had an opportunity to win the division and grab that number 1 overall seed. They lose to the Detroit Lions on week 18. People are like, okay, let's see what Sam Darnold, let's see what this team can do. Then they go on the road as the 5th seed to Los Angeles, even though it was in Arizona because of the fires. They played Los Angeles on the road and would lose that game as well. They lost those final 2 games of the season, and everyone really had a sour taste in their mouth about the Minnesota Vikings. But if you go back to that playoff game, Sam Darnold was running for his life the entire time. That Vikings offensive line gave up the most sacks in a playoff game in NFL history, but they've re-solidified this offensive line. Christian Darrisaw is back, and I think that this is easily one of the best units in all of football. All in all, You have a mastermind at the head coaching spot who's had so much great success with other quarterbacks. You also have one of the best receiving corps in football, headlined by the best receiver in football, and you have a tremendous offensive line. There is no reason why J.J. McCarthy shouldn't have an explosive year in this offense. Not only that, to put the cherry on top, this is one of the best defenses in football led by Brian Flores. I was talking about this so much during the offseason. All of these coaches that got head coaching opportunities, I was like, how did Brian Flores not even get one look? He deserves to be a head coach again, and the fact that the Vikings retained him for yet another season is so massive. This Vikings team was top 5 in points per game given up. They were locked down all season long. They also had the 4th most sacks in the NFL last season as well. That's the type of defensive scheme that Brian Flores is going to dial up. He's going to go get after you. He's going to show pressure, and it worked really well for the Vikings. And the fact that they won 14 games last year with Sam Darnold is incredible. And I think that J.J. McCarthy can do so much more with the opportunity that he is given. And I am so excited to watch this Vikings team for next year. Let's deep dive into their schedule and see what the record's going to be, what the ceiling's going to be, what the floor is going to be. Let's dive right into it. Week 1, they're going on the road against Chicago. My main concern for J.J. McCarthy and for this team in general is how great the division is. We all know what the Vikings did this offseason, but you look at the Chicago Bears, now going to take another step with Caleb Williams, who now has Ben Johnson. They upgraded this offensive line. They upgraded this receiving core. I think the Chicago Bears, who only won 5 games last year, are going to have a major improvement season. You also look at the Detroit Lions, who won 15 games last year. Yes, they lost in the second round, but that is not a team to frown at all. The Detroit Lions are going to be really a top seed in the NFC. It's going to be another tough team to try and get over. And then, of course, you have the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love, who in my opinion is going to be a dark horse MVP candidate. This is without a doubt the toughest division in football. And they started out by going on the road against Chicago on Monday night. I think that Minnesota gets it done here. I understand that Chicago has a lot of hype. I think Minnesota is going to go and steal game 1 on the road against the Chicago Bears. This is easily one of the toughest schedules in football. Week 2, they'll play Atlanta at home. I think Atlanta is going to be a lot better, but I think that Minnesota picks up their second win of the season. I think Cincinnati is going to be awesome this year, and I think that this is going to be Minnesota's first loss of the season. I have them losing here at home against Cincinnati. I think they can win it, but I just think that Cincinnati is going to be really different with this receiving core fully healthy, and I'm expecting a faster start from them. Week 4, they will play another AFC North opponent in the Pittsburgh Steelers, and these are both actually international games, so they'll stay international for another week before they hit their bye, a really early bye week actually. But in week 5, they'll play Cleveland. I think they'll win this game as well. What I'm noticing already is Minnesota has to take care of these early games. As I start to peak and start to cheat at these last few games, I mean, oh my goodness, this is just a brutal dominant stretch. Minnesota's got to be 4-1 or 5-0 at this point if they want to have a chance to make it into the playoffs. As maybe as harsh as that sounds, they've got to take care of business. They get this bye week, then they're going to play Philadelphia at home. I think that they drop this one to the reigning defending champs. They are now 4-2. They go on the road on Thursday Night Football on a short week against the Chargers. I think they pick up a massive win here before they go on the road against Detroit. I think that they split against Detroit this season, so I have them losing this one here. At this point, they are 5-2. Then they're going to play Baltimore at home. I think that this is a loss for them. I think that they're 5-3 at this point. It sounds maybe another harsh thing to say. They've got to sweep Chicago, in my opinion. And I think that's exactly what they can do. I think they sweep Chicago 6-3 at this point. The only reason I think they're going to sweep Chicago is because they play them week 1 on the road, and I trust Minnesota more in a week 1, maybe shake the rust off game type vibe than I do Chicago with Ben Johnson and some of the new additions that they have. So as of right now, I have them sweeping the Chicago Bears. So through 10 weeks, they are 6-4 after they sweep Chicago. Then they go on the road against Green Bay. I think they also split against Green Bay here. They're 6-5. Maybe some people start to hit the panic button, but I'm not as worried. They'll go on the road against Seattle, pick up a major victory. They're 7-5. Then they will host the Washington Commanders. This is going to be a really tough one, but this is where you've got to make your bread and butter. This is where you've got to take care of these home games. I think they win this one here. They're 8-5. They go on the road for 2 games that are very manageable. I think at this point, they take care of Dallas. They take care of New York. They're now 10-5. Then this is where the split happens with Detroit and Green Bay. I think that they close the season really strong. I think they win 12 games. I think that this is a 12-5 football team. They won 14 games last year. Yes, the schedule is brutal. I think the offense can be better with J.J. McCarthy, as crazy as that sounds. And the great news for the Minnesota Vikings, what I'm seeing right now is, okay, great. Shake off some of that rust over the first 5 weeks of the season where you have some pretty cupcake opponents outside of the Bengals. Hit that bye week. Then hopefully JJ's ready to go. That's the great news for the Vikings. Like, shake that rust off, shake off any nerves that you have. If this offense is starting slow, the defense can help bail you out against maybe a Pittsburgh team or a Cleveland team that's not going to be as dynamic offensively. Maybe Michael Penix Jr. and Caleb Williams are still shaking off some rust. That's the great news for Minnesota if I'm a Vikings fan. And then I think JJ McCarthy's full speed ahead. Yes, it's a gauntlet of a schedule in that back stretch. I think JJ McCarthy is more than capable of doing so. I don't think the Vikings win this division, but I think that they do make the playoffs. I think 12-5 is totally fair. I do think that this is a team that, depending on how JJ McCarthy plays, they're capable of winning multiple playoff games like we saw with Jaden Daniels last year with the Washington Commanders. Why can't the Minnesota Vikings get hot and make it to the NFC Championship? I think that is their ceiling, in my opinion. I don't think they can necessarily make the Super Bowl, but J.J. McCarthy over time will be ready and can lead this Vikings team, in my opinion, to bigger and better things. I think that's the type of production we will see and type of connection we will see with him and Kevin O'Connell. But just because it's his first year, I don't see why this Vikings team at its ceiling cannot make the NFC Championship. I'm Caden Kubler, and thank you guys for watching.